I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with Trucker John Livestream. Is that your live stream? If so, it sounds like you've got a lot of exciting content lined up. Can you tell me more about it? Wow, over 1,700 subscribers. That's quite impressive. Welcome to the place where no topic is off limits. Join me for a whirlwind tour through the latest in politics, pop culture, foodie favourites, and everything in between, with new episodes streaming every Tuesday and Thursday at 9 a.m. Pacific time, Thursday at 3 p.m. Pacific time, and Saturdays around 11 a.m. Pacific time, right after the Hal Sparks show. There's always something new to discover. Don't miss out on the fun. Tune in
Kamala
now.
Harris in her concession speech to Donald Trump and those gathered at Howard University. Do not despair. Roll up your sleeves. Organize, mobilize, and stay engaged.
Never, ever be a female president. Never. There will never be a female president, ever. It's over. Glass ceiling? Dude, it's a ceiling made of fucking bricks. You will never break it. Your stupid face keeps hitting the brick ceiling. We will keep you down forever. You will never control your own bodies. You will never be the president of the global empire. Never gonna happen, sweetie.
This is funny to watch. One more thing. One more thing. Do something. Yeah, I mean, like no guy, talk too much shit, talk too much shit. This is New York, we don't talk. I'm making a team. Do something. I like that line. Do something, but I like that line. Do something. Now you got my attention.
Listen, in a way, this is a Who Is This video. And yes, I'd like to know who this scumbag is. But that's just a small part of it. This is just tip of the iceberg. This is part of something much bigger and much more nefarious. For example, if you haven't seen, officials condemn racist text messages sent to black residents in several states. Thousands of black men, women, and children received racist texts the morning after the election. I myself had at least 10 people reach out to me who had gotten texts or who knew someone who had gotten these texts. Texts saying, hey, you've been selected to pick cotton at the nearest plantation. And even more posts on social media of other people who had experienced it and received these texts. Some of them even personalized. Some of them even listing the person's name. This is not like a one-off. This was a coordinated effort. This was a group that planned this and had that plan in place and executed it after the election. They felt emboldened to do this, just like that guy felt emboldened to get in that woman's face. And I'll give you one more. There was someone I know in a group that I'm a part of that posted they went into a big box home improvement store the morning after the election. They saw a young black woman behind the counter crying, went over to make sure that she was okay. And she told them when the store opened that morning, one of the first customers through the door saw her. It was a white man, smiled, started walking toward her. She stepped up to see what she could do to help him. And the first words out of his mouth were, Trump won. Are you ready to going back to knowing your place as a black woman? He woke up, rolled out of bed, got dressed, put on shoes and socks, and went out into the world, eager to find a black woman he could say that to. Listen, I've said before, and I mean it, I'd love to never ever again have to go, who is this? I'd rather that people just stop behaving in a way that makes that necessary. But let me make this clear. I think in the wake of this election, for some reason, the people who love Donald Trump are even angrier since he won. And a bunch of them feel emboldened, feel like now I'm free to do and say what I really feel and think inside. Go ahead. Let his win give you the confidence to write those checks, because I will fucking cash them. I will make video after video. I will expose you. And Donald Trump will not be there to save you. He'll not be there to save you from losing your job or having people in your life cut you off because of your hateful behavior. If you commit crimes, if you make people feel afraid and small because the guy you like won, that door's going to swing back the other way and it's going to catch you in the ass.
Authoritarian leaders across Latin America will likely read Donald Trump's victory in the United States as a strong signal that they can get away with abuse of power, with rights violations, and with corruption. Cuts to U.S. foreign assistance would have a serious impact on civil society organizations and on journalists that hold governments to account in the region. The mass deportations that Trump promised during the campaign would harm mostly Latin American migrants from Central America and Mexico. Continued denial of a human role in the climate crisis will give more leeway to the actors driving deforestation in the Amazon. If he follows the pattern of his first term, Trump will also intimidate Latin American governments into doing his bidding by threatening tariffs and other policies that may increase poverty. Work to protect human rights and democracy will be more important than ever before. So we will continue to investigate, expose, and advocate against these and other threats.
In America, the President, the Senate, the House, the Supreme Court will be all Republican, the same party. And this has also happened in Poland. So let me give you some examples of what you're in for. Between 2015 and 2023, the ruling party of Poland was PiS. They won the majority and they could do with the country whatever they wanted. One of the biggest things they did was a nearly all ban on abortion. 99% of abortions are banned in Poland. Women are not allowed to take abortions. Any doctor that helps women get an abortion will go to jail if found that they were helping them. So women now have to travel outside of Poland to do these procedures, and if they were found to do that, then again they would go to jail. You are not allowed to get an abortion even if it threatens the mother's life, and there was actually a famous case of when a woman died because she had to give birth to a stillborn. There were actually massive protests in Poland to protest this law. All women went out on the streets wearing black. It was dubbed as a Black Monday, which is basically when women wore black and they refused to go to work, they refused to go to school to protest this law. But despite all this turnout, they still did it. Here is another example. Women went out on the streets in more than 147 cities across Poland, and yet the ruling party still banned abortions. The second thing they did was basically introduce LGBT-free zones because they hated gay people so much. Aside from our president saying gay people are not people, they are an ideology, this is what happened. LGBT-free zones were created and implemented by local provinces, counties and municipalities. Over 90 municipalities declared an LGBT-free zone. Around half of the country was an LGBT-free zone. And here is the proof. This is what the map looked like. All these red places declared themselves as LGBT-free zones. In the EU, we have this thing where cities partner with other cities in other countries to be like sibling cities. And because of this, so many cities cut ties with Poland. Because of this, the European Commission blocked 150 million euro funds for LGBT-free zones and blocked a 42 billion euro payment from the COVID recovery fund. Of course, America is not part of the EU, therefore they will not have any repercussions if they make any laws like this, therefore they will be fearless. On top of this, newspapers gave out these lovely stickers which businesses could use to declare themselves as an LGBT-free zone. Now, what the ruling party did to achieve this was basically change the judicial system. They made it so that the court was selected by the party and the president so that there will be no blockage of any laws that they wanted to make. This meant that the judges were basically pawns in their game and they could pass any law that they wanted. After eliminating constitutional checks, the government then moved to curtail the activities of NGOs and independent media, restrict freedom of speech and assembly, and reduce the qualifications required for civil service jobs in order to fill these positions with party loyalists. There is always a lot of corruption and embezzlement going on in governments, but with this law, it meant that anyone from the party found guilty of any of this would just be set free. Because again, the judges were selected by the political party, which meant that they would never be found guilty of any of it. This was obviously huge during COVID because a lot of money they took for themselves. They got fake PPE, which actually were not even real companies, all of that stuff. The reason why they were in power for so long is because they wanted to brainwash even more people, so they took over the main TV channels. Think of it like the BBC. We have this broadcasting channel called TVP, which is TVP, and all their main news broadcasting anchors were selected by the ruling party. All day long, 24/7, there was right-wing propaganda in favor of the party and everything that you could think of negative for the other parties. They wanted to curtail the freedom of speech, so they wanted to ban the most liberal channel, which was TVN. TVN is owned by Discovery Channel, which is an American company, and they believed that this was a threat to the freedom of Poland, the independence of Poland, therefore they wanted to ban that channel. They broke the constitution so many times, they did not care, and because of this, the EU actually fined Poland 1 million euros per day. Do you know who else they hated? Yes, you guessed that right, immigrants. They were so against immigrants and protecting the Polish values that they actually tried to create a referendum to stop immigrants coming into Poland. However, the referendum failed to reach a 50% turnout, which means that the referendum wasn't valid. They, however, created a wall border similar to the border in America between America and Mexico to stop immigrants coming from Belarus into Poland and into the EU. Belarus was basically pushing immigrants through Poland into the EU, and Poland stopped this by building this wall. Some of those poor immigrants were stuck in that space between the Polish army and the Belarusian army, and they were denied humanitarian aid. No one was allowed to enter to help them, and unfortunately a lot of them died. There was a lot more that the ruling party did over the 8 years, but these were some of the biggest controversies around the world that happened. And unless you were a Polish white man living in Poland, your life was probably hell. I know a lot of people don't care about politics, but this result is actually scary, and America actually has a lot of influence on the world and the politics of other countries, so this result is also scary for other countries. A lot of these things happen in Poland after Trump won last time, so just imagine the things that will happen after he just won now.
Trucker John is about to start, so prepare yourself for some titillating conversation.
Testing, 1, 2, 3. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Hopefully I'm coming in loud and clear. Can you guys test, 1, 2, 3. I do have a green light on the microphone, so Carrie C with a thumbs up. Thank you, Carrie C. All right, good morning, everybody. Here we are, 9:23 a.m. in the Pacific time zone. We are already at 85 degrees. Expected high of 102. So our heat is here. We're getting the 100-degree days here already in May. I see Jolie's first. Stephanie B2 is second. So thanks for being here. 1 and 2. MJ Daniels here, Mr. Microphone Commercial. Hey, good looking. We'll be back to pick you up later. I guess that's what the thumbnail kind of reminded him of. Actually, that thumbnail is me in it's a high school. It was taken when I was in high school. That's my ride. That was my ride. That was my 59 El Camino. And I just thought I'd post that because yesterday I think we talked about the 59. I think a few times this week. So I thought I'd put that picture up. All right, Sandy Foltz is here. Hey, Sandy, good to see you. Fancy's here. Good to see Fancy. Thanks for being here. Fancy burned your hand. Ouch. Well, I hope you're on the mend. Hope you didn't burn too bad. Nick Rich is here, like number 5, 901. I'm only 23 minutes behind, Nick. We'll see if I can catch up. Yeah, there's Stephanie there. Good to see Stephanie. Thanks for hanging out with us. Hope everything's going well with you. Brooklyn's here. Brooklyn 471. Yo, Brooklyn. What, are you kidding me? What, are you kidding me? Brooklyn says this is disgusting. Yeah, it's disgusting. Like the whole was that Charlie Kirk or whatever the fuck that guy's asshole name is. But it's a reminder. I'm not sure if we really need reminding, but it's a reminder though just how despicable and disgusting these fucking maggots are. Let's just get fired up. Let's just get pumped up and let's go roaring into the midterms. Pamela's here. Hey, Pamela is here. Thanks for joining us here in the driver's lounge. Gulf Marine. Hey, Gulf Marine, good to see you. Thanks for dropping by. Carrie C, of course, is here. And here's Dutch, Minnesota. Is that what it is? And going all in for Trump. How's that working for you? You know, I guess if you're a Trump supporter, you should be very, very happy. Happy to see your prices go up, and
Happy to see the world kind of get all fucked up all around you. MJ Daniel, good morning from Washington. I declare this a GOP-free zone. Golf Marine says, my kitty is curled up in the front of looking back at me every now and then to make sure I still know everything. Make sure you're still there. It's like, don't go nowhere. You're going to feed me later. Now I'm at 9:22, so I'm 4 minutes behind. I did skip down. A lot of people just saying hi to everybody. Robert Perez from down San Diego way. Hey, Robert, good to see you. Robert says, loud and proud driver. MJ Daniel says, 1974 British documentary, World at War, needs to be shown in every American school. It clearly shows the danger of Kim Jong-Trump and the MAGA cults. Let's not forget the past so we're not doomed to repeat it. Something like that. The Soulcraft's here. Hey, Soulcraft. Soulcraft says, feels good in the deep south today, 71 and wind. Of course, storms are coming. Storms, they are a-coming. Sandy Foltz, John, you need to call the leasing office and ask to speak to a supervisor. I don't think there is a supervisor. I think there's one person, and then I think there is another person, I guess. But anyhow, I'm getting that all ironed out. I'll get that figured out. Don't you worry now. Don't you worry none. I'm going to get it figured out. I'm going to get her done. I'm going to get her done. Nick Rich, maggots hate tacos. Golf Marine, we're flirting with 90 in the Northeast Bay Area. Which is, for the Bay Area, that's getting up there. The Soulcraft, I think of 56 Nick with the clock tattoo like Dr. Manhattan. And then Soulcraft says, be cool as fuck. I may do it, but on the forehead? I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm familiar with that tattoo. And I am caught up, Nick. MJ Daniel, and Thema was all in on the driving choices of Louise. Oh, Thelma. And Thelma was all in on the driving choices of Louise. MAGA is a cult. Golf Marine, I was so ready for Larry the Cable Guy, the guy's career to be over. Yeah. One Vision. Hey, One Vision's here. Holy crap, it's Trucker John. Have you bounced back? Got an apartment now? Hey, One Vision, formerly known as Seha. Thanks for being here. Haven't seen you in a while. I'm still at the Seagull Suites. The beautiful, luxurious Seagull Suites. Yep, still here. Trying to get another place. It's been sort of a saga. Is it saga or saga? I guess saga. But we'll get it worked out. We're gonna get things ironed out. I got faith, got confidence. I'm gonna get that all ironed out and get into that other place. So and I'll make a video about it probably. You know me. I'm always shooting videos about stuff. Nick Rich says, "What's going to be the topic of the day? Food, cars, movies, music, or everything, or anything?" I guess we could talk about just about anything. See if you guys can get me riled up. See if who's gonna trigger Trucker John today? Who will it be? Will it be Mr. Spock? Will it be Nick Rich? Will it be Golf Marine? Who will trigger Trucker John today? Jolie, no cars or sports. Yeah, we've kind of maybe exceeded the weekly limit on those two subjects this week. One Vision says, "Good deal, buddy. Truckers are tough. You can handle it. You've been to handling school. Oh yeah. Okay. But it's funny. Here's what I'm fantasizing about getting, and I know this might be controversial. Getting a Tesla Model Y, a used one, because I saw a used one online for a pretty good price. And it's at a dealership, and it's one of those dealerships that they carry their own contracts. They say they will work with me with my low credit score and the low down payment. So I'm fantasizing about getting in the Model Y and just getting on the highway and just doing travel videos all across the country. Not even getting an apartment. I wouldn't need an apartment. Because you can go in camp mode in those cars, man. And you can buy these tents that attach to like the rear hatch, the hatchback door thingy. And I could pitch a tent. On times if I don't want to pitch a tent, it's plenty roomy enough with the seats folded down. You can get a nice little mattress in there, and I could just do travel videos from all over the country. That's really what I'm thinking about doing. I don't know. What do you guys think? You think that would be interesting? Because I could get on the road and just go to like national parks while they're still here. I mean, before Trump ends up destroying all of our national parks, maybe I should get on the road and start documenting some of these places. I don't know. What do you guys think? Rob Perez, will it be your right eyebrow? See there, Robert, you're just stirring the pot, aren't you, Robert? You're just stirring the pot. Golf Marine, ever locked up your air brakes? I don't know, but I do know that one time I think this happened to me twice. I remember I was in Lancaster, California. I had just picked up a load at a shipper at a big place. I forget the name of it, but it's a big distribution center. And it was in the middle of winter, and it was like really cold. It had been really cold. The overnight lows were like getting in the single digits. And I think this night it was probably about 13 degrees. Hadn't gotten down in the single digits yet. But the air hoses, to the brake lines, to the that go from the tractor to the trailer, apparently had gotten really brittle from the cold. And I never saw this happen before. I'm out West Coast, and primarily, and we usually don't get super cold temperatures like that. But sometimes we do get those Arctic freezes or those Arctic whatevers. And I think in retrospect, I didn't know at the time, but that hose, that brake line hose to the trailer brakes had gotten really super brittle. And I think it was from the cold, because I remember I picked up the load, I was leaving the facility, I went around like a curve, and then all of a sudden, I just came to like a screeching halt. There's, because that hose had just kind of like shattered. And I was just stuck there right in the driveway, couldn't move. I mean, I could have dropped the trailer and the tractor would still move. But anyhow, I ended up having to call for road service to come out and replace that hose. I didn't have a replacement hose, and someone had to bring one out to me, and so there I was, stuck on the property there, right, kind of blocking. I was kind of over far enough where trucks could get around me, but I was still in the driveway, the exit driveway. And then I had one. I think that happened to me before. I was out again. I was out in the Antelope Valley somewhere, Palmdale, Lancaster, out on one of the roads out in the middle of nowhere, and I went around a curve. But that time the hose didn't break or anything like that. But it just came off of the glad hand, and so I was able to, and that stopped me like right mid turn of this intersection. Fortunately, I was out about probably 15 miles out of town, and there wasn't a lot of traffic at that time. But I was able to, so I ran out to see what was going on, and the like the glad hand where it connects, it had just come off of there. And then I noticed that the glad hands were kind of spread out or something, and so it made for a loose connection. So I made sure, I think what I did is I just clamped it on there as best as I could. And then I think I just wrapped it temporarily, wrapped it with some, or for a temporary fix, with some duct tape so it wouldn't fall off again, because it was just really kind of loose, that connector. So I just taped the hell out of it with duct tape, and then I was close enough to our yard there in Lancaster. I drove it back to the yard and had maintenance fix that. They just replaced the glad hand. Anyhow, so that's that. Pamela, the eyebrow is ready for duty. Gulf Marine, iron your green screen. I don't have an iron. Soulcraft says, I mean, it does look a little. I may have made that worse. Soulcraft says, I guess, teared up watching Biden speak on his son's death 10 years ago today, then thinking what he has in front of him. I know, it makes me sad too. Like when I think of Joe and what Biden, and what's going on, it makes me sad. Hey, we got 38 watching, 33 thumbs up. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button for me if you would. That'd be great. I don't think Twitch is working, and I don't think Facebook is working. I went on there to try to see what was going on, and I don't think either one. So I think we're only on YouTube today. I don't think the other two are working. By the way, as an aside. Hey, there's Blue True Run. Are you still going to move to an apartment? Well, yeah, I'm in the process of doing that, of getting that approval. The approval process has turned out to be really weird because the person that works in the office has turned out to be kind of weird, or at least giving me all kinds of contradictions and stuff like that. But anyhow, I'm still working on it. Nick Rich says, making enough cash as a road trip blogger is something you should investigate before you give up a real job. Well, where do I investigate something like that? I wonder. I just Google it. It's got to be somewhere on Google. Pamela says, I can't watch President Biden without crying. I know. I hear you. I get sad. I don't cry, but I do get sad. Robert Perez says, that's a good example of why I never want to buy a semi-truck ever again. Driver's responsibility sucks. It's a lot of responsibility. Yeah, there's a lot to it, but you got to be a professional. The Soulcraft said, yeah, it's hitting a little close to home for me. Oh, yeah, because, your dad and everything, yeah. Yeah. My dad died of prostate cancer in 2012. Search for You is here, listening while at work. Howdy, truckers. Hey, Search for You, thanks for being here. Good to see you. Jolie reminds everyone, please like, subscribe, and share. Let's help grow the show For some reason, we've been shrinking instead of growing. We've been going the wrong direction. I don't know what that's all about. Brooklyn says, my father died of cancer of the rectum at 36. I was 2.5. Wow, that's so young for both of you. Young for him to go and young for you to lose your father at that age. That's pretty tough, Brooklyn. One Vision says, all truckers, no duct tape and crescent wrenches and ball peen hammers. Exactly. That was pretty much my toolkit. One Vision I see, Nick Ridge Love, and I'm not very mechanical, by the way. But yeah, I had the duct tape. I had one of those screwdrivers that you could turn it from Phillips head to standard. I had channel locks. Well, I did have a toolbox with a bunch of different stuff in there, but I'm no mechanic, that's for sure. Soulcraft says, I just don't understand why we don't treat cancer like we did AIDS, etc. I mean, maybe we do, but I don't feel the urgency. I think we've made a lot of gains. I mean, things that even back in the 70s and 80s that were sort of like pretty much automatic death sentences. Today, they might still be a death sentence, but I think it's at least there. I think it's put off. You know, the death part is put off. I think we've extended life a little bit. So I don't know, but yeah, I mean, it seems like it's not coming fast enough to cure, but maybe it'll be one of those things where it's like all of a sudden, you know, it happens. Because I gotta think that with AI and with stem cell technologies and even remember we used to always talk about nanobots. That was a big one back in the early 2000s. Like nanobots were going to be able to do all kinds of stuff. I bet you there's still nanotechnology that's being worked on, and I bet you if you combined nanobots, if you could, and with AI and with stem cell research, it seems like we could cure everything at some point. MJ Daniel, Red Green, I don't know who Red Green is, would be proud of your use of duct tape. Brooklyn says, I agree, Soulcraft. It's because it's big business. I don't know. I know there's lots of conspiracy things going on. People have been talking about since the 70s. I mean, about how they don't really want a cure because then that would mean that they'd be out of business. And by they, I guess that would be anything from pharmaceutical companies to medical, to doctors and to the medical profession. And if we had a cure for cancer, believe me, there's enough shit going on that we're not going to run doctors out of business if we cure cancer. And if you had a drug or anything that would cure cancer, that would make you and your company instant probably trillionaires. So I don't know. I'm not really in agreement with that kind of a conspiracy theory, I guess. One Vision says, quit telling people I'm Seha. You didn't rat out WW West Web. Oh, fuck, I guess you did. Well, I didn't know it was supposed to be a big secret. Seha. Was I not? Do you not want people to know? Are you ashamed of that whatever that's called? Handle? I didn't know. Okay, from now on, I will not say it again. One Vision. I will not say it again, ever again. Brooklyn says, I hate Father's Day. Yeah, I could understand it. It just probably brings up, that a lot of painful memories there. The Soulcrest says, probably you should see the size of my dad's cancer center and how many employees they have. And TBF, I don't know what that means. They are giving him a new and experimental treatment. Hey, Chris Doug's here. Chris Doug, good to see you. Says, I've given up the search for reality and am now in pursuit of a good fantasy. 72, my father died of colon cancer at 56. My dad had colon cancer at a pretty young age in about 1969, or he may have gotten diagnosed. Or I remember they were treating him, and I think they misdiagnosed. I think they just said he had ulcers at first, because I remember he just kept drinking like milk of magnesia or something because he was having stomach pain, and they said it was ulcers, but it turned out to be colon cancer. And so he was about 29 or 30. And then they finally found out that it was colon cancer, so he had to go in surgery, and they had to cut out a big portion of his colon. That was at about age 30, I guess, or 32. Yeah, I guess it would be somewhere around there, 30, 31, 32. And but he pretty much beat that cancer at that age. But then he got cancer again way later on. Again in, I want to say, it was early 2000s. Because I remember he had to go in for surgery again, and I think they took some more of his colon out. And then about 10 years later, in 2012, or probably it might have been 2010 or 2011 when he got diagnosed. Then he got diagnosed again with prostate cancer. And that's the one that killed him. But by this time, he was in his 70s. So I'm just so thankful that, he survived that first one back in 1970. Otherwise, I would have lost my dad when I was 9 or 10, So thank goodness for the surgeons and the doctors and the whatever medicine we had in 1970, because it gave him an extra, almost 50 years or something, or. Nick Rich says, whatever you call yourself, one vision, only respect, sir. Golf Marine says, Joe was extra honorable to try to counterweight Trump's dishonor. It was working. The Soulcraft says, Biden is on live now talking about his treatment. Oh, really? Brooklyn says, poor Joe didn't get the credit due. I know, he did. I think he did a great job. Like I said, I think he was the best president within my lifetime, or at least since 1980, when since my first presidential election that I was eligible to vote in. Suzanne, for example, says it's raining here today really hard. I believe Suzanne is in Texas somewhere. Somewhere in Texas, it's raining hard. Jolie says Twitch is up. Facebook crashed about a minute. After about a minute. Okay, yeah, because I did go on there, and I saw the start of it, and then it just disappeared. And then I tried to go on Twitch, and the thing I hate about Twitch is I can't even get to my own homepage. When I go on Twitch, it just took me right to Texas Paul, because I follow Texas Paul, and his live stream was going, and then I couldn't get to my own homepage from there. That's why I hate Twitch. It's the hardest thing for me to navigate. Study B2, nope. Dinky put the brakes on all that research. Yeah, well, yeah, right currently, yeah. All that cancer research, as far as funding, has been ended because of fucking Drumpf. James Williams is here. Good to see James. Thanks for joining us here in the old driver's lounge. Golf Marine says that Trump better not fuck up healthcare. Imagine all the folks with nothing left to lose in this firearm fortified fresh hell. I've said it before. If Trump keeps fucking around, he's going to find out. PDG 200 LBFB says Red Green is a comedian. Never heard of him. Never heard him? No, I've never heard of him. Sorry. I guess I'm out of touch. I've heard of Tom Green. I never heard of Red Green. Golf Marine loves Red Green. Well, there you go. I ain't never heard of him. PDG 200 LBFB says Red is from Toronto. Well, there you go. No. His show is so funny. Is it just a YouTube show or what is it? I've never heard of him. Big Hook. Speaking of Canadians, Big Hook, the Big Canuck is here. Saying hi, Turtle Toes. Are you weeding in the backyard again? Golf Marine, just because he's a Canadian doesn't mean he's funny. To be fair, you said TBF or something. Robert Nichols says, John, one, yesterday you talked about baseball and the Giants, their New York football team. Obviously, you don't know anything about baseball because the Giants are also a baseball team. So, James Williams says former President Biden can look at himself in the mirror and know he's served the American people with integrity, honor, and compassion. How many Republicans can say that? Not very many. I would say not very many. Hey, Marsha's here. Good to see Marsha. Thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out. I hope you guys hang out for a bit. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share, and all that good stuff. Rubber Perez, there's a cancer in the White House. Yeah, there is. Gulf Marine. Hi, Nick Rich. I'm a Californian. Canadian, something like that. Robert Perez, Elon has taken off with Stephanie Miller's wife last night. Ha, ha, ha. I mean, Stephen Miller, not Stephanie Miller. Because I'm like, that didn't make any sense to me. Was Stephen Miller's wife. And there is the link. Okay, let me go on the link. Let me check out the link real quick and see what happens. Okay, I got the link to my Twitch account. It takes me to a Google page. Okay, now it's going to YouTube for some reason. Now it's going to Twitch. Okay. And here is Twitch. It takes me to this front page about cookies. And there I am. Thank you. That's how I had to get to my own live stream, is I had to have Jolie put that link in there. But there I am. All one of me. And it says it's intended for certain audiences. I'm not able to post a comment. There's no comment bar thingy. I hate Twitch, man. I think it says Twitch live streaming open in the Twitch app. So I'm not in the Twitch app. So now if I go to open, now it takes me to the Twitch app. And now, watch me be back at Texas Paul. No, I'm here. I'm at my. Okay, now I'm here. I'm here. I think. And there's Jolie. There you go. I'm going to say hi to Jolie. Hi, Jolie. All right, well, thank you for Thank you for helping me get to my own Twitch page, whatever they call it. I still don't like Twitch though. But there it is. We're on Twitch. If anyone wants to go to Twitch, my iPad is just—it's really chugging. But yeah, so there's that. If anyone wants to go check out Twitch, become a member over there or whatever it is. Got Mad Max, Slava Ukraini. Absolutely. Slava Ukraini all the way, man, all the way. James Williams says Canadians had red green, Americans had Archie Bunker. Oh, so red green's like a racist? Like a bigot? Red green's a bigot? And is it a sitcom? I was led to believe that he was some sort of a stand-up comedian. That's what I was picturing when you guys were talking about. So is this like a sitcom, a Canadian sitcom? A racist, bigoted Canadian sitcom? Harkening back to the days of Archie Bunker in the early 70s? Inquiring minds want to know. Chris Doug says it's the ninth circle of allergy hell here in NJ. The air is pollen soup. Does not sound pleasant. Does not sound pleasant. Barbara Nichols says, sorry about your dad. My daughter had breast cancer at 24. Doctors were shocked. She beat it, though. I'm glad she beat it. That's, yeah, 24. That's really young, but that's why we always got to, get early detection and all that kind of stuff because it really makes a difference. Big Hook says, hiya, Bad Mac, Beyond Leonard Norm, good to see ya. Katie Stevens is here. Hey, Katie, good to see you. Thanks for dropping on by. Katie says, hello, everyone. Missing Hal Sparks and the live interaction enormously, so I figured I'd check this out. Well, thanks for coming by. I hope you're still here. Hope you're still hanging out with us. Let's hang out. We've got a lot of sparklers. I would say we're like 99% sparklers. And that's why some people say that we're trucklers. Because we're like, it's a combination. It's a combo deal. It's a combo thing. But thanks, Katie. Thanks for being here. And Hal should be on tomorrow morning for his radio show at 9 a.m. Pacific time. He took a little time off to be with his son, who just turned, I believe, 13. I think today might be his birthday. So happy birthday to Cameron Sparks. I hope I didn't just say something I wasn't supposed to say. Anyhow. Golf Marine says, do you guys think Leon had to get her drunk to artificially inseminate Mrs. Miller? I don't even know anything about that. So, Richard from Australia, probably about 3 a.m. right now, says Trump should have been behind bars long ago. I agree. Kitty Stevens says, yay, there are sparklers here. I am so happy. Good afternoon, Trucker John. Hey, thank you, Kitty Stevens. Yes, like I said, we're probably about 99% sparklers, I think. So come on in, take a seat, kick back, and mingle. We're in here mingling. This is me mingling. This is why my success rate in getting dates was not very good. Because this is me mingling. Hey, how's it going? Yeah, that's me. No wonder I'm single. Search for You says, my 83-year-old dad was diagnosed with prostate cancer during the pandemic. I had to put him in a nursing facility. I am an only child and still feel guilty as fuck. Well, I don't think you should feel guilty, if you can't like provide the care that he needs or needed, putting him in the nursing home was probably the best thing you could do. You know? James Williams, if your wife can't find you handsome, at least she can find you handy. Robert Perez, They Might Be Giants is a music band from the 80s. Chris Doug, the San Francisco Giants. I thought we weren't talking about sports today. Chris Doug says the San Francisco Giants moved to California from New York City in 1957. Yep. Richard rushing from Australia at 2:54 a.m. Big Hook. Are the border shopping towns completely broke now that we don't bother crossing the border anymore? I don't know, but I do know that gambling revenues in Las Vegas are down. I don't have the figures of how much they're down, but I just heard, where did I hear it from? Oh, I have it's like a newsletter thing it's like an email newsletter thingy about Vegas stuff, and they didn't put the figure. They just said that gambling revenues are down in Las Vegas from same time last year, and going by same time last year and same time, I guess, 2 years ago. And granted, 2023 set records because it was coming out of COVID. I believe this is why, because we were coming out of COVID. Things were finally getting fully opened again, and people were feeling safer to travel and stuff like that. So 2023 broke all kinds of records for Vegas for revenues and hotel revenues and gambling revenues and all that kind of stuff. Last year, 2024, I think it kind of leveled out, or it might have just slightly dropped, very slightly dropped, because 23 was so high. So it didn't seem wrong or abnormal or whatever to have a slight little dip. But this year it's like noticeably down. I don't know what the number is, but and I'll have to look into it more. But from what I got on that newsletter today, and they have proven to be pretty reliable, because I've been reading their stuff for years now. The gambling revenues are down in Vegas. And a lot of it has to do, I think, with people not coming here from Canada and from other places because of Trump's horrible fucking, the tariffs and all the talk and all the stupid bullshit he says about making Canada the 51st state and blah, blah, blah. So people aren't coming here from other countries. And I think it's showing up in the statistics now. Pam J says, Kitty Sims, yes, T-John Chat is a good replacement fix for when Hal is on vacay. Oh, is that all I am to you? Pam J? Is that all I am? Is this a replacement when Hal's on vacay? What about when he's not on vacay? I'm just kidding, Pam. Pam's always here. Pam is a loyal truckler. The Soulcraft says, I'm trying to keep mine at home, but some of their needs are starting to get beyond my means to do. Yeah, so you either have to put them in the 24-hour care, or you have to have a visiting nurse, which is what we did with my dad. He was in the hospital for a little while, but then he was able to come home, and we had visiting nurses that would come in every day, and that was a big, big help. Marsha says, you're probably right, James, about Biden and Kamala Harris. They actually care about people. I think so. I believe so, too. I don't believe it's just people are like, both parties are the same, and they're all just in it for the money and the power. I think there are people that are in government that actually do give a damn about this country and about democracy and about the Constitution and about actually caring for human beings. And I think most of those are Democrats. I don't think there are hardly any Republicans that feel that way. Pardon me. I just had a little belch there. I don't know if you got that picked up on the mic or not, but excusez-moi. But it says, Marine, before the Giants got here, my dad would watch AAA San Francisco Seals at Seals Stadium in the city. AM, it's weird how I don't get a notification on Twitch, but I did get it on YouTube today. I don't know how Twitch works. I don't even know if they send notifications out. Maybe they do. And YouTube seems to be kind of hit and miss. I tell people hit the notification bell, and then people will still say they didn't get a notification. I don't know if that's a YouTube thing. I don't know if that's settings on your end as far as your email settings. But yeah, it seems to be kind of hit and miss. Nick Rich, I need multiple devices in order to be on more than one platform. Only this phone. That's fine, Nick. That's fine. Brooklyn, how about green red? Golf Marine, Carol O'Connor wasn't a racist. No, but Archie Bunker was. Okay. I never said anything about Carol O'Connor. I was talking about All in the Family. Those are fictional characters. Those aren't real people. You know, they're played by real people, and the real people are pretending to be something that they're not. It's called acting. Carol O'Connor was pretending to be a racist or a bigot. Doesn't mean that he was one in real life. That's why it's called acting. The Soulcraft says in speech class in high school, our teacher made us watch Red Skelton. Red Skelton was very funny. I remember watching Red Skelton as a young boy on TV. PDG 200 LBFB says Red was a stand-up way back when. We talking about Red Skelton now or Red Green? I'm confused. I think you're talking about Red Skelton. Maybe, I don't know. Big Hook says Red Green was more of like a Tim and Toolman Taylor, only armed with duct tape and Duck Dynasty wisdom. What is Tim the Toolman? What is Tim the Toolman Taylor? Is this another Canadian production? Aaron West here. Hey, Aaron, good to see you. Thanks for popping on in. Nice of you to join us today, Aaron. Don't you hate that whenever you're like work or school and you're late and the teacher or the boss will say, "Oh, good of you to join us today." Nick Rich, I was wrong about the, I guess, buffering deleted. John didn't see he's way behind again. Well, that's what happens when I read the chat, Nick. You know how it goes. If I'm going to read the chats and then I'm going to make comments about the chats and go off on little tangents, then obviously I'm always going to, I'm going to be behind. Like Richard says, I remember Willie Mays over the shoulder catch. I remember seeing lots of like the old film of it. I wasn't alive when that actually happened. I've seen that footage lots of times. Kitty Stevens says, "Yep, I'm still here, Trucker John. Thanks for this." Well, thank you for being here. I'm glad you're still here. I'm glad I haven't chased you away yet. William Carroll O'Connor was the exact opposite of Archie Bunker. And that's just goes to show what a great actor he was. Pam J, we're the Lounge Act. And here's Jolie with a link to check out comedian Josh Johnson. You will all love him. Might want to do that later, so we don't have a mass exodus. Katie Stevens, this administration is the worst. Absolutely, I agree, Katie Stevens. They are that. It's that cockastocracy. Is that how you say it? They're all a bunch of cockastats because they're full of poop and they're incompetent and unqualified Every single one of them, from the president on down to his complete cabinet. They're all incompetent and really have no business being anywhere near the levers of power. But here we are. Here we are, man. Nick Rich, 12 noon. Wait, 12 noon in Vegas? It's 10:11, my friend. When you said that, it was probably 10 o'clock in Vegas. Golf Marine, I got to actually see Willie Mays and McCovey on the field at the same time. I did too. I think I was pretty young, but I think I remember Willie Mays was still playing. Yeah, Mays was still playing when I was, a kid in the '60s, and McCovey. Yeah, I saw him on TV. I don't think I actually went. I know I never went to any games up there as a kid, and at Candlestick or anything. At Dodger Stadium, probably saw some Giants games. I don't know. I don't remember now. Chris Doug Sparklers, Jalapenos, and Hal's Angels here. Oh, Elizabeth Fernandez is saying Cameron's birthday was Thursday. Howdy, Trucker John. Thank you, Elizabeth. First of all, thanks for being here. Do appreciate you hanging out with us. And thanks for that clarification. So, happy belated birthday to Cameron. He turned, I believe, 13 yesterday. The Soulcraft says, I've never seen Hal's first wife partner. Kind of curious now. Yeah, me either. I don't even know who she is. Golf Marine says, they used to hand out full-size baseball bats on Bat Day in the 70s. I think I got one once. I don't have it anymore. I think I got one at Angel Stadium. I don't think I got a Dodger one. Mad Mac, how come we all knew that Elmo was a friggin' drug addict, but the word is just now getting out to the press? I think the Republicans put out a smear campaign on him because he quit the Orange Felon. Well, the press knew all. I would say that the press has always known, but just like what the press has been doing for a long, long time, they don't report things about Republicans unless now, Trump wants them to. So now, like the obedient little lapdogs that they are, Hey, look at there, Aaron West, a $5 super sticker. Thank you so much, Aaron. Yippee to Aaron. Like, subscribe, and share. I do appreciate you. For modding and for the super stickers. I appreciate that. Golf Marine says, howdy, Richard. I stay up till the wee hours to take part in a British live stream. It's a great calming break for me. Nick Rich, 10:03 a.m. in Vegas. Sorry for the error. Nobody's perfect. I think that's the first time I've ever seen you make a mistake like that, Nick. So I'll allow it. Marcia says also that she thought today was Cam's birthday, just like me. But yeah, just thanks for the correction to Elizabeth there. Pam J, I don't know if you would use them for baking. Never tried. Okay, I'm mid-thread. I have sort of skipped down a little bit, so I don't know. I don't know if that's in reference to. Blue Tomato's here. Hey, Blue Tomato. Good to see you. Thanks for dropping in into the old driver's lounge here. Blue Tomato says, hi, everyone. 1904 here, Norway. Canadians are not coming to Vegas or the U.S. anymore, going to have an impact. Yeah, I believe so. I believe we're seeing the impact, or we're seeing lower revenues here in Vegas, because I know that we would get a lot of Canadians coming down here to Vegas, and not so much anymore. Somebody just rode up on a bicycle with some loud music. I don't know if you guys can hear it. I don't know why that person feels like we all need to share in his musical tastes. Anyhow, but yeah, it's definitely going to be an impactful thing. Pamela, just don't fart, TJ. I'll try not to. Hey, I did burp a little bit. I'll try not to fart. But hey, it's natural. Can you guys hear that music? I thought boom boxes were a thing of the past. Katie Stevens says, the vaccine thing scares me to death. There's a new COVID variant around, and we all need to be vaccinated. I'm so scared of losing people I care about because of this administration. I know. I was just thinking that today. When is the next, big fuck up going to happen? The next big COVID, next big thing. Because we're only 6 months. We're only just barely 6 months into this administration. Still plenty of time for some fucking awful things to happen under Trump. I was just thinking of that today. I mean, I think I thought of that before today, but today I was really thinking about it. Like, just waiting for the other foot to drop, or the other boot to drop, or the other shoe to fall, or the other, you know what I mean? I'm just, that I think we're all living on pins and needles, or sitting on pins and needles, because we know we're just waiting for the next disaster, the next unnecessary disaster that's going to be caused by something Trump does. We're just waiting for the next one, and the next one, and the next one, because we know he's going to fuck things up so badly, and he's going to cause something, and something that could have been very preventable. Nick Rich John's out of the loop today. Big Hook Dan is so behind. Dan? Liberal Dan? Is he here? Big Hook, Tim Allen, Home Improvement. Well, Tim, the tool man, Taylor. Why didn't you just say that? Then, just say Home Improvement. Richard says, Katie Stevens, yeah, here in Australia we have been warned about another COVID-19 variant strain. So if you're able to get, I'm pro vaccination. I'm pro booster. If you have access to getting the booster, get it, because who knows before Trump shuts that shit down and blocks access to that. So if you can get it, get it. I'm going to look into getting. I had all the boosters up until I think it's been like a year now since I got my last booster. But I think I got like 5 boosters. But I think I probably should get another one. I don't know if you can get too many boosters. Hey, Jen Up the Base is here. Jen Up the Base is Trucker John here. I am ready to not discuss either your eyebrows or the San Francisco Giants, but here you are wearing Giants colors on Orange Friday. Let's go Giants. I can't help it if my alma mater, my high school alma mater's school colors were orange and black. I can't help that. I also can't help it if that's one of my favorite color combinations. I cannot help that. But I'm still not a Giants fan. But, it is what it is. It is what it is. See, this is my little mascot. We were the Sun Devils. Right here. Go Sun Devils. Nick Rich John's 11 minutes behind. Well, I'm always going to be behind, unless you don't want me to read chats. If you don't want me to read chats, then I guess I would solve the problem. Marsha with $2 super sticker. Thank you so much, Marsha. I do appreciate it. You beat it, Marsha. Marsha says, please like, subscribe, and share. Trucker John rocks. Thank you. Thank you, Marsha. That's very kind of you. James Million says, Orange Shirt Day in Canada is totally different meaning. What does it mean? Is it something bad or mean or silly? I don't know. Sandy Foltz, you're a real good friend. Richard Sandy Koufax had the best curveball ever. Yeah, Sandy Koufax. Hall of Famer. Soulcraft says, y'all remember Del Murphy? Yeah, I remember him. Mormon Slugger, you may have had to been a Braves fan. I miss dudes like Phil Necro, big old belly and throwing junk. Yeah, the Necro brothers. Wasn't there a couple of them, and known for their spitball. It's because of those guys that led to all these like checking gloves, checking waistbands, checking hat brims and everything for some sort of sticky substance to put on the ball and make it do weird and wonderful things. Soulcraft says even Fernando V wasn't exactly a physical specimen. No, he wasn't. May he rest in peace. Great Dodger, great. That's for sure. Big Hook says advertising revenue is dependent on Republican billionaires, unfortunately. What is that about? What advertising revenue is dependent on Republican billionaires? Aaron West, I can hear the music a little. Now they're gone, or they shut it off. I wonder if they heard me. Because it seems like right after I made those comments, and they turned it down. So if they did, that was very nice of them. And if they didn't, I guess it was nice of them. I don't know. Nick Rich, a lot of kids have music blaring on their e-bikes and scooters in my city. Annoying. Big Hook, after the worst mass shooting in Vegas, I'm surprised any Canadians ever visit Vegas. We lost 3 or 4 Canucks because of your fucked up gun law. Yeah, it was a horrible thing, man. That's for sure. Jet the base, Gulf Marine, let's fucking go. Bill Big Daddy Ruschel and Levon Hernandez pictures are a thing of the past. Hey, Walter Makarovich, good to see you. Says hi, Trucker John. Our hockey season's over for the Stars. Oh, I haven't been following it, but your Dallas Stars, I guess, are finally out of it. Need to get some defensive men in the off season. What was up about Denzel Washington walking off Stephen Colbert late night show? I don't know. This is the very first I'm hearing of it. I don't know what happened there. Now I want to go watch it and see. AM says that the corporate networks are biased and I believe were partly responsible for influencing elections. I think the whole news media could be blamed for not giving fair coverage and having a huge double standard where, and we've talked about this before, where Joe Biden could stumble over a word and it's like, oh, he's got dementia and he's, blah, blah, blah. But Donald Trump can go on and on and on and talk about, what he calls the weave or whatever. But that was just, I think, an excuse for his rambling and stumbling. And he could do that at every rally and no one even blinks an eye. The media doesn't even, so that's okay. That's fine and dandy. That is so infuriating to me. And they still do it to this day. They're still doing it. Nick Rich, 20 past the hour. I'm 6 minutes behind. Nick Marine says Rags was a fun time. Katie Stevens says there are already people who say they can't get the vaccine. Stephanie Miller told a story on yesterday's show about a nurse whose pharmacy wouldn't supply it. See, this is what we're looking at. This is because of Trump. Notice when Biden became president, those vaccines got out. We had them out, and everyone had that in their arm, and we knocked down COVID really pretty quickly after Biden got in. Now here we are, 6 months into Trump, and we're going to start seeing vaccines not be available. So, Katie Stevens, I think you have every right to be concerned about this issue, as we all should be. Dick Rich, I can stop with the clock if it bugs anyone. No, I appreciate it. It lets me know how far I am behind. I do appreciate it. I'm just saying that I'm going to be behind if I'm going to read the chats. But I do appreciate, so then I know if I'm getting, it's a good gauge. Am I 20 minutes behind or am I 6 minutes behind? It's a good gauge. Big Hook, I said Tim the Toolman Taylor. I scrolled up and checked, remember 10,000 K steps. Now you've just totally messed my mind up because I don't even know what the 10,000 K steps has to do with Tim the Taylor Toolman, and I don't get it. I'm a little dense though, so you have to take that into consideration. Brooklyn says, "Bye all. Baseball is not my thing. Take care." So Brooklyn's just out. Too much baseball talk, and Brooklyn's gone. It's like, fuck it, fuck you guys. I'm out. Well, you could bring another subject into the chat, maybe. Try that tact. Maybe. I don't know. Jim at the base of Trucker John, Joe Necro getting busted with an emery board and flinging it aside, trying not to get caught, was hysterical. Don't forget about Gaylord Perry. Jim at the base, you're chasing away my group, my crowd here. Stop with the baseball talk. We've had enough baseball talk for the week. Now you're scaring people away. Big Hook, you said news media never covered Elon. I was making the point of advertisers' influence. Big Hook, I think you need to clear the wax out of your ears. I don't think I said that they never cover Elon. I think what I said is they don't cover things fairly or equally. And that they did know about it, but because they don't want to put the Republican Party, the Republican Trump's the cabinet in a bad light, they chose to ignore it. They're not being journalists. They're being propagandists. Robert Perez, $1.99 super sticker, I guess. Thank you, Robert. Yippee, Robert. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Golf Marine says, Bumgarner. Okay, I'm not breeding any more baseball. We're chasing away people who are tired of baseball. So you can talk about them. I just think I'm just not going to read them. But if you guys want to talk amongst yourself about baseball, fine. But I'm going to skip over the baseball ones. Now, James Williams says Orange Shirt Day is to remind us of unmarked graves of the indigenous students discovered at residential schools across the country. Oh, wow. That's pretty heavy. Nick Rich, haven't heard anyone mention the weave in a while. Leave it to me. Leave it to me. AM says, according to the big beautiful bill, the COVID vaccines are only available to seniors age 65 and up. That's if it gets passed. It hasn't gotten passed yet. So that's what they're trying to do, huh? I don't even know the point of that. You know? What the fuck is the point of that? Katie Stevens says, thank you so much for doing this, Treasure John. Been missing Hal so much. Now I know how the people in my dad's company feel when he goes on vacation. I'm glad you're here, Katie. I'm glad you enjoy the show. I hope you make sure you come back because we do the show even when Hal is not on vacation. I do a Tuesday, Thursday at 9 a.m. Pacific time and a Saturday at 11 right after Hal. And then this week we've been going every day. And I might start going every day, Monday through Friday, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, like an 11 a.m. Pacific time show. So I hopefully you'll come back. Hopefully you subscribed and you hit the notification button or whatever, and you'll come back. And hopefully you'll tell others. Check out the Trucker John Show. This is a place where sparklers can hang out. And if you're not a sparkler too, I mean, it's open to everybody, but that's a good sparkler hangout, Sandy Foltz, John, did you know there's a football team? Sandy Foltz, please. Oh my God. I'm a football fan. How could I not know that there's a New York Giants football team? How could I not know that? Oh my gosh. Anyhow, James Williams, we established the Truth and Reconciliation Committee to maybe estimate that very thing. Doesn't reflect well on the churches that ran them. No, the churches have been we've been finding out a lot of bad things about a lot of churches, not just in Canada, but in America and all over. Blue Tomato, wasps were driving me nuts. Don't want another nest inside. Yeah, you had one inside. That's not good. See, like Nick Rich is at 10:30, so I'm only 3 minutes behind. Now I know I'm only 3 minutes behind. So I appreciate the time checks. Golf Marine, maybe we should all do K, I guess with ketamine, and then pretend this is happening to a different country. Sandy Foltz likes my orange shirt. Thank you, Sandy. Katie Stevens says, it's just that being without my virtual family for 3 days is very hard. Thanks for giving it back, Trigger. Well, I'm glad you're here. And I'm glad you found us. And if I hadn't put Hal Sparks' name in the title, you might not have even discovered the show. And I know sometimes I catch flack for doing that, but I think it does more good than bad as far as getting people who are looking for a place to hang out, and they usually hang out at Hal's show, and Hal's not here. Either he's on vacation or sometimes he's doing events or whatever. So it's a good way to the people who are looking for some place to hang out. I think it's a good way to get people to find this chat room because, so hopefully I'm doing the right thing. Mad Mac, rumor is that Stephen Miller's wife left him because of his diet of eating live, I don't know, mice, I guess. Because he's a snake, apparently. MJ Daniel, the news on TV has the depth of a piece of paper. Here's Crimson Spice 72, $20. Thank you so much with that. Yippee to Crimson Spice 72. Thank you for the support of the show. Helps us keep going and growing and keeps us on the air. So thank you so much, Crimson Spice 72. I'm not sure if I've seen Crimson Spice 72. Have I seen you before? Have I acknowledged you before? Thank you for being here. If you're new here, I hope you like and subscribe and share. stay with us and hang out with us. Big Hook, the Big Canuck says journalism is dying, unfortunately. Washington Post is compromised by Bezos. LA Times by that billionaire conservative doctor. New York Times is not reliable as much as it used to be. I pray for you guys. Fix it. Ooh. Well, Nancy, you're going to have to just come on and watch shows like Trucker John and Hal Sparks and Boston Brian and Liberal Dan, Two Terra's show. Who else is out there? Texas Paul. And we'll get the truth out to you. Why am I doing this? Why am I swaying back and forth? I don't know. Kind of feels good, I guess. Kind of working the kinks out. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh yeah, that's it. Oh yeah. Let's stretch that neck out. Hey everybody, let's take a time out from the chat. Let's take a little time out. Let's do that. Let's roll our necks. Everybody, come on. I can feel the tension. Let's release the tension. Just let your shoulders go slack. Okay? Just sit down. Just relax your shoulders. Release all that tension from your shoulders. And let's just slowly roll our neck and really work all that kind of tension and soreness out from our necks. We're taking a time out here, guys. A tension release time out. I could kind of feel the tension building in the chat. I think we need to let's reverse direction. Let's roll that neck nice and slowly. Get that tension and stress and work it right out. Relax those shoulders. Right now, you don't even have shoulders. That's how relaxed I want you to be. I want it just to melt away. I want all that tension and stress just to melt right off like butter on a hot stack of pancakes, like what I had this morning just prior to the show. Just roll that neck and just work that stress and tension out. Let's go back the other way now. Nice and slow. Eyes closed. This way you can sort of do some, you can envision whatever you want to envision and just something that's nice and relaxing. A nice beach or a nice forest. And it's just nice and peaceful and calm. And it's a nice day and you're just enjoying the day and all the tension is just melting away right now. And you're going to feel so much better as soon as we're done here in a couple minutes. All that stress, all that tension's gone. I can just see it floating away. It's floating away up in the sky. It's gone. The tension, stress, it's gone. I'm feeling loose. I'm feeling so much better. Okay, and we're back. All right, guys, open your eyes. Let's open your eyes. Yeah, we can do a little of this. I feel better. I hope you guys feel better. We just took a little moment there to unwind. Tim Farrell's here. Good to see Tim. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us here in the old driver's lounge. Mishra, I keep forgetting to say yippee. So yippee, yippee, yippee. Yeah, yippee. That's what we do here when someone does a super sticker, super chat type of thing. I give them a yippee. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that sincerely. I'm not trying to. Sometimes I feel like it sounds like I'm being condescending or something, but no, it's sincere. Golf Marine, we really appreciate your effort to keep up. I'm trying to keep up. Actually, I'm not really trying to keep up because I realize that if I read the chat, I'm going to get behind. So we have an option. Either I don't read the chat as much and I'm caught up, or I take the time to read some of these chats and expound on some of the subjects, and then I'll be behind. So I guess whatever. Nick Rich says this isn't the Hal Sparks show. You'll figure that out soon enough. Yeah, this is not the Hal Sparks show. It's the Trucker John live stream. It says so right here behind me. There. Can you see that? I know. I'm like Let's see. See, that's what this is. I'm I'm so stupid. I made a logo that you can't see because I'm sitting in front of it. The slow crowd. Just noticed it in YouTube though. I've seen it a few times. I don't know what that's about. Let's see. I am skipping down a little bit here in the chat. Soulcraft CNN has been teasing it since 8 a.m. Was it that? Are we talking about the Denzel Washington thing or something? I haven't watched CNN. So. Big Hook Independent Media is the new truth tellers. Midas Touch Network is putting out honest content with full context. Sandy Foltz, my stepdad used to have an orange Mustang. He had called it the Orange Pumpkin Taxi Service. MJ Daniels sitting fit with TJ. Golf Marine, I'm doing a TJ. I hear a lot of grit between my bones. Yeah, it happens. James Williams, Hal focuses is on his guest. The topics that concern him and providing evidence to expose. Trucker John is a place that focuses on how people in the chat feel about the information. Oh, thanks for that little summation, James Williams. Soulcraft, breathe in, line, exhale, negativity. Yeah, I didn't really do much breathing exercise on that. Maybe on the next one. This might become a regular segment of the show. We'll concentrate on some breathing. Breathing in through the nose and then exhaling out through your mouth. Katie Stevens, thanks for the stress relief, Trucker John. I'm still recovering from being very sick the last couple of days. I've been irrational and short-tempered. So sometimes we need to take time to just sort of, try to release our stress. Big up, yippee-ki-yay, mother effer, John McClane line, Die Hard, TJ. Yeah, I'm very familiar with that. That's one of my favorite all-time movies. Pamela, waiting for TJ to do head, shoulders, knees, and toes. Yeah, with the, what was it? What are those guys? I used to watch it with my kids. Mark should be back in a few. Got to restart my phone. I believe I'm caught up. Blue Tomato with the thumbs ups. Look at there, Nick Rich. I caught up. 44 watching. 58 thumbs ups. Make sure you guys hit the thumbs up button for me. And all that good stuff. Now, what are we going to talk about now? I've caught up. I guess should we do some more? No, I think we worked out a lot of the stress. I feel a little less stressful now, so that helped. I don't know what's going on with Denzel Washington and Steve Colbert. I really don't know. Marie Jane Greco with some truck emojis. Nick Rich, and now we have time to do deep dive into something. Big Hook says, I just keep poking Andrea. Yeah, it's hard to get Hal's attention. Even super stickers aren't guaranteed to get a mention. But I don't blame Hal for that. I mean, he is trying to get out a lot of information out, and there are lots of people in the chat now. Like Jolie was saying, there's lots of folks in the chat, so he's not going to be able to see everything. It's just like when I get to 100,000. I'm sorry, guys, but I'm not going to be able to read everyone's chats. If I have 100,000 subscribers and we've got 2, 3, 4,000 people in the chat at any one given time, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to spend as much individual time on you as I do now. That's that's just the way it goes. So I'm just giving you guys forewarning right now, okay? When we hit big, when we become as big as Midas Touch, which is going to happen any day now, I unfortunately won't be able to spend as much time with you guys. I know it's hard to believe, and it's not. It's sort of bittersweet, right? It's sort of on the one hand, I want to have 1 million subscribers and have thousands of people in here in the chat, but on the other hand, I don't want to neglect you guys, but I'm afraid that just might happen to some extent. It just happens as we get more popular and the show grows, and we've got 1 million and 2 million and 3 million subscribers, and and the chat's just whizzing by at 100 miles an hour. I'm sorry, guys, but I just gotta let you know now that I'm probably not going to be able to spend as much time in the chat once we get to that level, which is going to happen any day now. Barbara Nichols, my Elon comment was only a joke. Blue Tomato, Norway. Blue Tomatoes in Norway. Zuckerberg says, totally in the dark on the Denzel thing. I was talking about the Trump farewell to Elon that was supposed to be on like an hour ago. Oh. Well, apparently those two are fighting, and I think Elon Musk should just be kicked out of all of his companies because he's destroying them, and he should just go to his house and fucking enjoy his money. I mean, why do you have to stick your fucking nose in everything? If I was worth $400 billion or whatever the fuck it is that he supposedly is worth, I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna have the biggest, baddest fucking mansion in the world, and then I'm probably gonna have a few more across the globe, and I'm gonna be in a jet, and I'm gonna be flying all over the world and seeing the country, seeing all the countries, seeing the world, and you probably won't even hear from me ever again. If I was worth 400 trillion, hell, if I was even worth a million or two, that probably. I mean, I don't know if I'd have the biggest, baddest mansion in the world, but I would probably be traveling all over the place. If I only had a few million, I'd probably still be doing YouTube videos and doing travel videos. That's probably what I would be doing. But if I was worth trillions, like fucking Musk supposedly is, you probably wouldn't ever hear from me again, because I would be, and I wouldn't be getting involved in politics. And I wouldn't be trying to, influence the president and all that bullshit. I'd be very content with my $400 trillion, believe me. But that's the thing, is these guys, it's not about the money. These guys have mental illness. They have sickness. They're on power trips and ego trips. And then you combine that with these weird drugs they're taking. It's just a cocktail of lunacy, MJ Daniel, Elon is going nowhere. They are just trying to hide him from the public eye because he has become so unpopular. I thought Elon was announcing that he was leaving the administration, or leaving the White House, or whatever. Blue Tomato says, Roxanne Epstein, laughing out loud. At least they are our cousin, and you didn't say Norway is the capital of Sweden, so well done. What is the capital of Sweden? Anyhow, James Woody says, is this a new thing since Trump? If I donate, am I entitled to 5 seconds of fame? Sounds like how the White House works. They're buying influence. That's for sure. The Soulcraft says, if I had 400 billion, you'd never see me. Big Hook, Big Hook. AI scares the fuck out of me because without regulatory oversight, it's going to be used for evil purposes rather than for the good of humankind. China uses it to surveil and jail its citizens. Definitely needs regulation. Nick Rich says, if the moderators could always get the attention of the host, then the chat would feel a lot more connected, in my humble opinion. Well, it's not always all about you, Nick. Or it's not always all about the chat. I mean, it depends on the show. Like, this is a show where we just chat. This show is based on us chatting, so it's different. But I think Hal's show is based on trying to expose all the right-wing bullshit that the mainstream media is not adequately showing and covering. I think that's what Hal is trying. That's why he does long-form, videos and live streams, and he shows like unedited, videos, so you get the full context. So his show isn't about really just interacting with the chat so much. Like I say, when he first started and there was only a few hundred people or whatever in there, of course he could, because the chat isn't moving as fast. When you've got 1,000 or 1,500 or 2,000 people in the chat during a live stream, which I kind of had that a couple times. But there was a couple times, Jolie, remember? I forget. We had some live streams where a lot of people came in, like hundreds and hundreds. Like, we had like hundreds of people at one time, and the chat goes really fast. So you're not going to be able to have the same interaction. That's just the way it goes. Robert Perez says, just like Uncle Trump says, it's not what you got to say, it's how much money you're going to pay. Money talks, bullshit walks. Hey, there's Mud. Thanks, Mud, for being here. Oslo? Blue Tomato, Stockholm, John. Nick Rick, Stockholm, Mad Max, Stockholm. You guys Googled it. I know you did. I'm not Blue Tomato, but All right, Stockholm. I didn't say. At least I didn't say. At least I didn't hazard a guess. Oslo's in Norway, by the way, Mud. Right? The Soulcraft says an appointment was 130-day limit. He had to leave on paper. Soulcraft says today is day 129. I think. Nick Rich, I'll take Sweden. Yeah. The Soulcraft, isn't it Afternoon Delight? I love some ABBA. I don't think ABBA did Afternoon Delight. Wasn't that like the Starlight something band? Afternoon Delight? Yeah, just Reference Johnny, when are you going to sell bobblehead versions of yourself? As soon as I can find a place where I could get some made, maybe. That would be funny. Yeah, I was trying to do a bobblehead. MJ Daniel says it's all about their ego. Yes, absolutely. Musk and DJT are sociopaths that need the attention and adoration, and to prove how much smarter and better they are. You know what? If I was Elon Musk, I would just totally be putting all my concentration, my passions into making Tesla the best fucking automobile manufacturer that it could be. I wouldn't be in about trying to go in and strip people of their Medicare and their Social Security and take away jobs from people like an asshole. Rubbers, I'd buy that for $1. Sugar John Bubblehead's on sale now for $19.99. Chris Doug says Oslo, Stockholm, Helsinki, Copenhagen. I dared Taco Dipshit to find the Scandinavian capitals on a map. Mad Mac says just saw breaking 70% of voting machines manipulated. Christopher Titus is working with Election Truth Alliance, and this was just exposed with proof of it. Wow. That's pretty. If that all comes out to be true, then God damn it, we might not be able to overturn the elections. It's too late to do that. But how about we just impeach the motherfucker? And by motherfucker, I think you know who I'm talking about. Big Hook says Hal uses the truth to put conservative nonsense into its proper context, which is to dumb down people and eliminate critical thinking by doing it for them. Jolie says you've had live streams with about 300 people before, and it was pretty chaotic. Yeah, that's just 300. Just think if you had, because I think Hal is getting into the thousands now, right? So, it's just part of the territory. As we grow and we get more famous, like moi, I'm saying that tongue in cheek. I hope you know. My tongue is somewhere in the cheek. But as shows like the Trucker John live stream, as it grows and gets more and more popular, it's just harder to read the chat. I'm sorry, folks. That's just the way it is. All right. Anyhow, Chris Doug, Trump thinks Budapest is a deity infestation. Yeah, Starlight Vocal Band, Mad Mac. I believe that's who's saying Afternoon Delight. And Soulcraft says, "Oh yeah, you're right." Robert Perez, you look like Trump trying to blow the microphone. That was probably not my best move. Blue Tomato, yes, Oslo is the capital of Norway. I like how this chat turned Nordic. Oh yeah, we'll talk some Nordic. We'll go Nordic. I'm half Norwegian, or thereabouts, I guess. I don't know if I'm completely half, but my grandma was Norwegian. I guess that makes me quarter Norwegian. It's kind of funny how my mom would always just say, "You're half Norwegian and half Irish, and you got French and English and Indian and whatever." So all kinds of shit. MJ Daniel, Bill Gates is helping. Yeah, Bill Gates has done a lot with his money. He gives a lot of his money away, and I think that's great. To give it to worthy causes and stuff, Big Hook, Mad Mac. I hope Anonymous has the evidence of it as well. They said they had a major reveal coming in 30 days. Pam J, I saw a ref on a Mockler vid about Elon and health problems. Not sure who's having the problems. All of them? We'll have to check into that some more. The Soul Crab says, I know, right? I still see Teslas and think, damn shame, because I like the look of most. Yeah, I like the cars. Pam J, not the truck though, right? The truck is a piece of crap. But I think the Model 3, Model Y, and I think the Model S, even though I've never driven a Model S, but from everything I've heard about Model S's, those are nice. The thing about the Model X, they're just really pricey, and I've heard problems with they have the gold wing doors that open up, and people were having problems with those and everything, and I don't know, it just seems like, I mean, it is really big. If you really need a really big kind of vehicle and you have the money, which I don't, But I like the Model 3 and the Model Y. Those are at least somewhat affordable. And they're nice cars. I love them. I love them. Pam J says that try Heather Cox Richardson. She gets thousands, maybe a lot of bots. Heather Cox Richardson. Now I read her every night. She does her America's to Letters to Americas, and I read those, and those are so great. They're so packed with history and with what's going on. You know, a combination of history and a combination of what's going on currently. She is a great writer. I know she has I know she is on YouTube. I think I subscribed to her channel, but it seems like I never really watch it because either I'm on, or Hal's on, or somebody else is on usually, and I don't really watch her show that often. But she is great, and I highly recommend if you can check out Heather Cox Richardson. She is just a treasure trove of information, and she writes so beautifully and puts everything together concisely of things that are going on currently, and she's great. I cannot recommend Heather Cox Richardson enough. Here we got Michael Ganges to the goal. Thank you, Michael. Ooh, thank you. Yippee. I don't think that was that wasn't a super chat though, because we're still at 2 out of 5. I just did 5 just for shits and giggles. Usually I only do 1. Sometimes I do 5. Just to mix things up. I'm getting really thirsty, but I'm going to end the show in about 8 minutes. So I guess I can hold out for another 8 minutes. The Soul Crab says, reporter asked Levitt if Elon had a drug test ever after being appointed. Oh. That's a good question. The nasty question. I'm sure Trump thought that was a nasty question. Don't ask a nasty question like that ever again. You're nasty. You're so nasty. I hate Trump so much. Pam J, $2 super sticker. Pam J, go Giants. Smooch on. Thank you, Pam J. Yippee to Pam J for that $2 super sticker. And go Dodgers. James Williams says, Hal does watch the chat even when he's talking to guests. I think I like that he lets a guest talk before he responds. Tara is proof. Hal uses his platform to support a lot of new content creators. And then 4828. I have no idea what 4828 means. Golf Marine, someday TJ will be so famous he won't be able to respond, regardless of how we yearn for his attention. Unfortunately, Golf Marine, I think you're right. Unfortunately. It's the cost of fame. MJ Daniel, I am Irish on both sides of my family, and a DNA test shows 42% Scandinavian, bloody Vikings, and their bloody spam. And by spam, I think I know what you're really trying to say. And we don't need to go into that any further. Nick Rich, 11 a.m. in Vegas. I'm 5 minutes behind you. Golf Marine, yo ho ho, and a repurposed single-use plastic bottle of my buddy's moonshine. Robert Perez, it's always 420 in my mind. Big Hook, the big Canuck, says, I think it was the tabulators compromised and not the voting machines necessarily. It's who counts the votes, as Navalny said about Putin election theft. Yeah. I hope they come to the bottom of this. I hope we have, proof and evidence so we can stop saying it's a conspiracy, or we can stop saying we don't know, or we can stop saying, I wish we could just know. And then And then the press and the media and all of us, we need to do our job. If it comes out that there was vote manipulation going on, that needs to be front and center news 24/7 and not go away after a day. We need to harp on this, just like they harp on the shit that they do, but the shit that they do is made up, like Biden crime family and all this kind of shit. But once we get the facts, if we have facts about voter manipulation and all that kind of shit, that needs to be front and center and not go away. Mad Mac, no fire sale from Anonymous, just make the maggots eat shit. Michael McAndrews, I thought $1 would do it. Thank you, Michael McAndrews. Super sticker, $5. Yippee to Michael McAndrews. I do appreciate you. Thanks for all your support of the show. And keeps us going, keeps us on this live stream. I do appreciate you. PDG 200 LBFB says, seriously, check old Red Green shows online. Here we are back, going full circle to Red Green. I guess those are old shows. I guess it's not current. Sandy Foltz, I have to sign off for now. I'll chat tomorrow. Thank you, Sandy, for being here. I will be here tomorrow, right after Hal Sparks. Hal Sparks after show hangout. So for all you newcomers, that's what we do. After Hal tomorrow, come on in and we can continue the chat. Or whatever chats that you couldn't get in on Hal's show, you can come over to my show and do it. Because we got plenty of room, unfortunately. Fortunately or unfortunately, however you look at it. And there's Jolie Trucker John also has PayPal. Oh, yes, there's the PayPal. We got like, subscribe, share. We got buy me a coffee. We got PayPal. We've got super stickers, super chats, all that good stuff. Marsha trying to get us to the target. That's a super sticker, which is different than the super chat. We've got 4 minutes. There's a countdown, 4 minutes and 56 seconds to make the goal of one more super chat, which is different than a super sticker. Just so you know. But thank you, Marsha. You still get a yippee. Yippee to Marsha. Yippee! Thank you for that. I do appreciate you. Skeeter, not lurking. Hey, Skeeter. Hey, Skeeter. How you doing there, Skeeter? Good to see you. Mad Max says, you are correct. I can't vote here, so I don't know the terms. They said the tabulators also count mail-in ballots as well. We need to get to the bottom of that. Michael McAndrews apparently said $5 super sticker. Thank you, Michael. Yippee for another super sticker. It's showing that we're at, I think, there it is. We just did it. It's a miracle. It's a no. It's a miracle. It's a miracle. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. We just did it. Yippee, Michael McAndrews. Thank you so much. We made the goal. Today's goal has been brought to you by Michael McAndrews, as well as Marsha and others. Thank you guys so much. I'll read the list in a minute here. We made the goal. Thanks for doing that, guys. That was pretty awesome. Yippee, yippee, yippies all around. Fresh round of yippies. Barkeep, a fresh round of yippies for everyone. Roxanne Epstein is here. Golf Marine Red Green is hella funny. Big Hook, the margins were too big in Trump's favor to challenge, and with Republican judges in swing states, it was unlikely. Plus, it requires lots of money to pay for recounts. And my understanding was that there were a lot of recounts that automatically kicked in for a lot of these elections that were really close. There's Jolie, $5. Yay, Jolie! Was it Jolie that did the goal? Jolie, thank you so much. Yippee to Jolie. I'm just not getting to it, so thank you so much for your help there. I do appreciate you. Big Hook says, Turtle Toes to the rescue. Mad Mac, that was the main reason the Orange Rapist kept saying 2020 was rigged, so that when they are actually caught cheating, that the Dems would be reluctant to sound like maggot whiners. Yeah. Mr. Spock's here. Bright Eyes is being a lap chicken. Aww. That's just, I could just picture a little chicken sitting in your lap. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much. We are at the 2 hour mark. I probably should end. Otherwise, the show will just die like it did yesterday. And then the chat just keeps rolling until I have to go back into the Prism app and shut it off from there. Some of you guys like it when I'm not on the screen, when I ain't got nothing to do with it, and you guys can just chat amongst yourselves. There's some of you that I think prefer it that way. Maybe I'll just do that from now on. I don't know. But thank you guys so much for the fan funding, as they like to call it. We had Michael McAndrews, $5 super. Oh wait, let me go to the beginning. Okay, so the first one, Aaron West, $5 super sticker, and then we had Marsha with a $2. I think. Oh, that was a super chat. I don't even know the difference. But then they had Marsha with $2 super sticker. Robert Perez with a $1.99 super sticker. Crimson Spice a $20 super sticker. See, those are super stickers. Thank you so much. Michael McAndrews, $2 super sticker. I think those are super stickers. Pam J, $2 super sticker. Thank you, Pam J. Michael McAndrews coming in with a $5. I think that's a super chat. And then Marsha, $2 super sticker. Trying to get us to the target. Michael McAndrews, $5 super sticker. And Jolie, $5 super chat. See, I keep mixing up the nomenclature myself. But anyhow, we got there. We got to the goal. Thank you guys so much. You guys are awesome. And I appreciate each and every one of you. Don't think that you have to contribute monetarily. I just being here, having you guys talk in the chat, hitting the thumbs up, hitting the share button, subscribing. Those are all things that you can do for free, and I appreciate that. And that's all you can do. That is, believe me, that's enough, and I appreciate that. And for those that do the beyond, go up beyond and above that, I appreciate you also. But that's never necessary. But it's always welcome and always appreciated, and I'm grateful for it. So, guys, thanks so much for being here. Tomorrow is Saturday. Hal Sparks is supposed to be on at his regular time, 9 a.m. to around 11. He does a radio show and simulcasts it like on YouTube and all the other his other outlets, platforms. I'll come on usually around 11, or if he's going late, maybe I might wait until he finishes up, and then we can go on, and then we can all hang out more. If you guys feel like hanging out more after going through a 2 hour show or 2.5 hour show with Hal, and you're like, you know what, I feel like hanging out some more. I feel like chatting with these sparklers. Let's go over to Trucker John's place and we can hang out there. That's kind of what the idea of the show is just to continue the chat and the camaraderie. And after Hal ends his show, we can come over to my show and continue with that. So that'll be tomorrow around 11 a.m. or so. I'll see you guys then. And again, you guys are awesome. Thanks for being here. I do appreciate you. By the way, Mr. Spock, live long and prosper. Good to see you. I'm glad you came back today. Pamela says, hey, truckers, check out the VOR podcast 6 p.m. tonight. Small channel doing hard work, rallies, protests. These guys deep dive into topics serious about problems and facts. So that's VOR podcast. That's here on YouTube, I guess, Pamela, right? I guess. All right, guys, that's it. Now, just remember, words of wisdom is a little tradition that we do here on the show. I end the show with some words of wisdom for you. If there's any newcomers here today, I end the show with words of wisdom. I always encourage people to get a pad and a pen to write this down, because this is stuff that you can take with you throughout your life, throughout your week, and you might want to write it down. All right, so here we go. Here's today's words of wisdom. All right, guys. So just remember that
well, it's time to say goodbye. The show has come to an end. Don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again. We'll have some fun times, hopefully not I talk about war crimes. I talk about Baghdad. I doubt we'll talk about door chimes. But if we did, I'd be only too glad. So I style of Easter, baby. The show is over, but could I ask you maybe to take a shower? No, that's not what I meant, but I couldn't think of anything to rhyme with over. Now my whole rhyming scheme is all screwed up. Oh shit, I should have stuck to truck driving, who I try to kid. At least when I was out there driving, I could handle a skid. But doing this live stream, baby, has been a real kid. So I hope to see y'all again right here on the Trucker John live stream. We're gonna do it again and again, right here in the Trucker John live stream. Yeah, the Trucker John live stream. We're gonna come back and do it all again. No, this ain't no dream. This is where we win, right here on the Trucker John live stream. No, this time to say goodbye. The show is coming in. Don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again.
Trucker John, on the road he rides, live streaming all through the nights. From politics to pop culture he speaks. No topic is off limits, nothing is weak. From Vegas to the highways, he'll never tire. Shouting about food, talking about desire. He's the rebel of the asphalt, the king of the night. With a microphone in his hand, he's ready to ignite. Freedom is his fuel, passion in his soul. Gotta express himself, gotta take control. Moving through the country, keeping it real, no filter, no holding back, nothing to conceal. Rolling down the highway in my rusty old rig. I'm a retired trucker, but my spirit's still big. Living in Vegas, where the lights never sleep. Broadcasting my thoughts for the world to keep. From politics to pop culture, I've got it all. Sharing my views, no matter how big or small. Talking about food, the movies and bugs. Shining a light on all the social issues. No shows, I've driven through the desert, seen the city so bright. But now I'm living in a different kind of fight. From my apartment in Las Vegas, I hold the key, exploring the world. through my live stream for free.